those of you who I haven't met, I'm Ted Blank. I'm the Executive Director of the Forest Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. And welcome to our September membership breakfast that we strategically planned to have the first day of school and the first day after the Labor Day holiday. So that was a very, very deliberate decision. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to start by introducing the members of the Forest Lake Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors who are here with us today. So if you would please stand as I call your name. We have Jules Benson from FLACC and Jenny Lord from Edina Realty. Bob Meisner. Did I get that right? Oh, good. From Famous Dave's. Tyler Rath from Polaris Industries. Cindy's not here. Lisa Stegner from Timeless Elements, Med Spa and Laser Center. And Sheila Waldock from the Minnesota State Fair. No, from the Waldock Custom Center. Sheila spent some quality time at the State Fair, I was reliably informed. Well, thank you all very much. We'll get started here with our speaker in just a moment, but a couple quick announcements, preview of the month ahead here at the Chamber, and we kind of take the summer off a little bit, so I'm starting to get back in the swing of things. Next Wednesday, the 16th, 7:45 to 8:45, we have our Coffee and Connections networking group that meets at the Forest Lake Ice Arena. Hope you can join us for that. There's a flyer on your table for our quarterly member mixer, which is coming up on Thursday, October 1st, and we're very excited to have it hosted for us this time by Polaris. So you'll have a chance to check out the Polaris Research Center. Is that the proper name for it? The Polaris Research Center in Wyoming. They'll have the usual food and beverages, a virtual facility tour, and all sorts of other fun stuff, plus a chance to meet some of the folks from Polaris. So hopefully you can join us for that Tuesday, October 1st. Then Thursday, October 1st. Tuesday, October 13th is our annual meeting, which will be a luncheon, and it will be held at the American Legion in Forest Lake. And it is actually going to be the Chamber's 50th anniversary annual meeting, so we'll have some fun things planned for that. So hope you can join us on Tuesday the 13th for lunch. And with that, I'd like to introduce our speaker this morning. Landon Purius is the Vice President of Academic and Student Affairs at North Hennepin Community College. And Landon, I'll turn the program over to you.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting me here today. Again, my name is Landon Purius. I'm from North Hennepin Community College. North Hennepin is over in Brooklyn Park, and so we're right north of 694 and a little east of 169. I'll show you a visual of the map in a second. Like many of the community colleges in the Twin Cities, we're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year, so we've been around for 50 years. Helping prepare students to transfer and also to prepare students to go into the workforce. We have kind of a dual mission. We're a little different from a technical college. There's Hennepin Technical College, which is just 2 miles down the road from us. Much more trades, much more technical in nature. We're preparing students to go directly into a career. Nursing, paralegal, business, IT, those types of fields, or to transfer on to a 4-year university. So a lot of our students will do that. I should mention that I do have handouts in the back. I wasn't sure how many people were coming, so I didn't put them on the tables. But my card, a little packet of information, if you want to take it with you, it's back on the back table. I also want to say that as you have questions, please just raise your hand. I'm not one who likes to present and then wait until the end. I just prefer you to raise your hand and I'll answer it as we go. So here are a few pictures of the college from 50 years ago. And then here are a few pictures from today. And here is the map. So I wanted to point out that we are here, North Hennepin Community College and then Hennepin Technical College. And the reason I mention both of them, even though we are separate institutions, is because we do complement each other in the type of programming that we offer. So if you have a particular area you're trying to fill that's more trade technical oriented, Hennepin Tech is going to be that school. We also entered into a partnership that I'll talk a little bit more about related to non-credit or customized training. And that's another way that we help get folks into the workforce. I'm not going to walk through this, but I just want to show it very briefly. Even in the morning, just talking to folks, people asked how our enrollment is doing. So we're just around 6,000 students that we serve in this fall semester. Over the span of the year, we serve about 10,000 students. Hennepin Technical College is also about 10,000 students. So between the two schools, we serve about 20,000 students a year. And we are currently down enrollment, but that's, and I'll explain it for folks I haven't explained it to. When the economy is declining, enrollment at community colleges goes up. And that's because folks are laid off or they see a reduction in their number of hours and they go to get retrained. When the economy is picking up, enrollment in the community colleges goes down. So we're kind of the reverse of the economy. So this is what our current profile looks like. Can kind of see it. Those are fall 15. We have almost 60% female. You can see the breakdown of our students of color. We're almost at 50% students of color, and that's very reflective of the community that we serve, Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center, Osseo. And then the last thing I want to mention is the age. Sometimes it's a perception that colleges serve primarily the traditional age student, 18 to 25, but our average age of our students is 27. And so we serve a little bit older student who are mid-career professionals, or they lost their job, they're going back to get retrained, or any number of scenarios. So in 2012, we did a survey of our local employers. We interviewed and surveyed. We actually conducted face-to-face interviews with 42 local employers. We really wanted to understand what their needs were and whether or not we were meeting the needs of local employers. And so it's a much longer survey, but there were two questions I thought might be of importance. And so the first was, what type of courses or what types of training are local employers looking for? Now, local employers 20 miles around Brooklyn Park, and so I realize that's not Forest Lake, but other schools in the metro area have done similar surveys and found similar things. So I like to believe that it's probably somewhat similar, but recognizing, though, again, that this was a survey done of employers in Brooklyn Park. So they're really looking for industry-specific courses, advanced and general business, and then programs or courses or curriculum that help advance critical thinking. So those were the main types of courses, and then these are the skills that we were told we needed to help provide. And you can see over on the right-hand side, what are the skills that are needed the moment they're hired. The next one is, what are the skills that could be learned on the job, or both, and then skills that aren't relevant. And so obviously there's many more skills than these, but these were the highlights of what we saw. Proficiency in written and spoken English was obviously the most important. And for North Hennepin, we are an open access institution, which means we need to serve any student who comes to us regardless of their skill level in English, math, computers, whatever. We have to provide them the level of training that will get them up to the point that employers want them to be. And so that is something we do already, and that's something that, of course, is highly sought after. I'm not going to go through each of these, but we also, math, computer, business, communications, problem solving, critical thinking, these are the skills that we embed into many of our courses. So we like to believe that when a student graduates from North Hennepin Community College, they have the skills here that the employers are looking for, not only because we asked to make sure that we were actually meeting the needs, but because these are things that we believe are important, obviously for work, but also to be members of society. So these are things that we've tried to embed into our courses. Out of that needs survey, we came up with some things that we felt were really important. So we want to be the partner of choice, not just us, but all the community colleges in the Twin Cities and in the state want to be a partner of choice for employers, so that we can help provide the employees for all of your businesses and other businesses in the community. Another question I had this morning, what are our top declared majors? So these are the top. Liberal arts is really a general degree. It's focused on transferring to a four-year university. So a student who wants to transfer to the University of Minnesota and doesn't have a specific major in mind is likely to pursue just their general degree and take those courses that are transferable so that they don't lose credit when they go on to a four-year university. Nursing is probably not only our top declared major, but it's also our most in demand, and we only have a limited number of spots for nursing. Business administration, computer science, law enforcement, also have paralegal. Yes, your daughter's in the paralegal program, I heard. And so we have a number of our programs, again, they lead either to transfer or they lead directly to a career in these areas. Now, the other partnership I want to mention with Hennepin Technical College, and I've got a brochure for that in the back as well, is on the non-credit side. So often we think of colleges as providing students the opportunity to get an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, any sort of degree or certificate, but we also provide non-credit options and we customize that training. So if a person wants to get or wants to have training in some sort of specific computer software, they can work with us and we can customize the training to meet the needs of that company. Rather than sending the student or the employee to us to take a kind of a prescribed course, we can take a course, modify it so it meets exactly what the company's looking for, and it can serve multiple employees at one cost as opposed to individually by students. So we have the opportunity to customize all of our training as well, and it can be done at one of our locations in Brooklyn Park or Brooklyn Center or Eden Prairie, or it can be done on site at your organization. So we can deliver it, and we can also deliver it online. So that we find is a type of training that a lot of businesses are very interested in. It's a lower cost than the per credit option, and it can be customized to meet the needs. So that's something that we partner very often with a lot of our local organizations. So then for our students, as they're getting ready to go out into the workforce, we provide these services. So we do basic career resources, which is resume writing, interviewing, skills, kind of those sorts of things. But we also hold career fairs where we invite employers to come in. We set up internships, so we work with local employers like yourself, and we set up internships. They can be paid or unpaid, and the person that say they're in a degree in marketing will work with a marketing firm, and they'll get some real-world experience, again, either paid or unpaid, working for them. We also have a strong history of service learning and volunteerism, where we'll pair up students with community organizations, with workforce centers, with a variety of different places for them to get, again, more experiential learning. And what we've heard from employers is a student who can come with more than just the academic side and have a little bit of work experience, even if it's an intern or a service learning opportunity, is more valuable than a student who comes just with a degree and a set of classes. So we try to provide those opportunities for students so that they're more valuable to the employer when they're hired. And then we do a little bit of job placement. This is not something we have a long history of, but we do. The paralegal program has job placement and a few other areas on our campus where we'll actually help the student find a job with a local organization. So these are the things that our graduates do leave with. And the first four items are from the skills that employers were looking for. This is a newer item, and I want to talk a little bit about this because I know one of the areas of concern is attracting employees, but also retaining employees. So what we're seeing now with our student demographics and our student population, and this is a shift from when I first started in higher education, is this desire to contribute back to the community from which they're coming from. And that means they want to go and they want to get a degree in human services or social work or business or whatever, and then go back to where they're coming from. So if they're in Brooklyn Park or in Osseo, they want to go back to Brooklyn Park or Osseo and actually contribute to that community. And that's a little bit different. I remember early in my career in higher education, talking to students, and you'd ask them the question, what are you interested in going into? And they'd want to know which pays the most. And not that money doesn't still come into play when people are making decisions, but this is something that I've heard much more recently is I want to be able to give back to my community. And so that's nice. I love to hear that. It's better than being driven by the dollar only. But what that says to me is that students are willing to go back and stay where they know, where their family is, where they were raised. And so I was just having a conversation with Steve earlier about the generations. And so one of the concerns about right now is whether employees will stay at an organization for a long time or not. And I think the trend has been that as the younger employees are more likely to take multiple jobs over their career, the days of working 20, 30, 40 years in one line of work is just not as common as it once was. But one of the things that I've discovered working with perhaps the younger generation, the Generation Y millennials, is this interest in there is loyalty. It might be loyalty to an organization, but it may not be to a specific job. And so I think of myself, for instance, in my higher ed career, I've been at a few different organizations, but within each organization, I've had the opportunity to move around or move up. And so what I'm hearing from students and from folks who recently graduated is they're interested in staying at an organization for a longer period of time, but they're not interested in staying in the same job for a long period of time. So they like the opportunity to try new things. So it might be a lateral move even within the organization to take a position laterally or the opportunity to go up in the organization. And so the strategy that I've been employing with some of my direct reports is how can I develop you professionally? So if you want to move, take that step into supervision, or you want to take that lateral move from admissions to financial aid, for instance, at the college, then I can help you do that so that they stay at the organization longer. So the strategy is more about, at least what I've heard and what I've been employing, is about developing the employee and giving them the opportunity to move within the organization and not confining them to one job within the organization, because if that happens, they're likely to leave and go elsewhere. So I don't think that we necessarily have to think about employees contributing to a company for just a couple of years. I think maybe a given position, but not necessarily the company. I think they're willing to commit to the company if they see opportunity for growth. So the last couple slides are related to partnerships. So we've been working hard. This was another piece out of the needs assessment, is that we needed to rebuild our partnerships within the community. So community colleges, when they were founded 50 years ago, like our own, they were founded by the community. So they were residents of the community, businesses in the community, legislators of the community. They founded these community colleges, and the community college was meant to serve the community. Over time, the community colleges became entities within the community, but not necessarily members of the community. And so they were little pieces of property within a city or a county that students came to, but they weren't necessarily giving back or contributing actively to the community. So one of the things we're trying to do is reestablish where or how we were founded. We want to again be the community's college, not just a community college. So in that we have to build these partnerships. So I mentioned the needs survey. That's how we're trying to identify and make sure we meet the needs of local businesses. We're also trying to partner more with the city and the county. And I put a couple of items on there. The blue line is a light rail line, the one that is supposed to go up north. Then we have high schools, of course. We've always traditionally partnered with high schools. But the other piece for North Hennepin is that we're really trying to provide our students the opportunity to get their four-year degree if they want a four-year degree. Not every student needs to have one, but if they want one, they want to give them the opportunity to get it on our campus as opposed to having to go someplace else. So students don't need to drive up to Moorhead or to St. Cloud or to Bemidji to get a four-year degree. They can get their four-year degree on the North Hennepin campus in Brooklyn Park. This goes back to the idea that students want to give back to their community. They want to stay in their community and they want to give back to their community. So they don't want to leave Brooklyn Park or Osseo or wherever they're from to go someplace else. They want to stay there to get their degree and then actively contribute back in their community. So we've really taken that and we're really trying to expand. And this also provides so not only the option for students to stay in their community and work in their community while going to school, but it also, can provide them multiple pathways to various degrees that maybe weren't open to them before. And in the West Metro, where we're at, the Northwest Metro, there are no public four-year options. There's only private or for-profit options for higher education. And the public options, of course, are a lower cost, which provides even more access. So if we bring these to our campus, then students have the opportunity to get the four-year degree if they want it or need it, and then stay in their community as they're pursuing that degree. So that was a very brief overview. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Yeah.
Do you have any kind of provision for students taking a test to determine their skills, their high skills?
Yep. So on entry, students have to take an English and a math and a reading placement. That's to see where they start so that we know which course they should begin in. And then in certain careers, there are placement I guess they're exams that they have to take upon completing the degree in order to sit for licensure or to sit for certification or those sorts of things. So we do have some exit exams as well, but we do have the front end so that we know where they start. So we're not placing a person who should be at like ninth grade math in a calculus course or a college algebra course. So we try to place them so they're in the right spot. Does that answer your question? Kind of. Okay.
Well, I was thinking more along the line of helping them decide what they really should be.
Oh, yes. Yep, we do. So our Career Resource Center has that. We have an interest inventory, and we also have the Myers-Briggs, which is more of a personality style. But the interest inventory lets them take a test and figure out, or it's not a test, but they complete a set of questions to determine which areas they fit in terms of professions. So maybe they were thinking healthcare, but they take this interest inventory and it's not really high on their list. It's interesting with the number of students who go into nursing thinking that they want to go into nursing and then realize after they take their first class or two that, you know what, I don't like working with people, or I don't like blood, or I don't like any number of things. And so we do try to either counsel or advise students at the beginning so they're into the right place, or we also have those interest inventories.
So that's something they go and ask for, or is it something that they get automatically?
Well, they automatically get the advising and the counseling through orientation. So when they come, we have those conversations with them, and then the interest inventory is available to them. We make them aware of that so they can come in at any point. Yep. Yeah.
Do you ever do any career counseling to steer young people into professions that there's a need for in society rather than a profession that no longer is valued?
Yes. So we have that as well. So actually, along the lines of that question, when a student comes in for orientation, they meet with a counselor, or excuse me, with an advisor, an academic advisor, and not only do they kind of go through just how do you get started, how do you register, but they also talk about, well, what are you interested in doing? So we try to provide students information about high demand fields and also high salary, or not just high salary, just what is salary in an average for a given field. You know, if you want to go into human services, you have a real passion for that field, that is a needed field, but the salary isn't that high. And so if you're going to spend this amount of money to get your degree, take out this amount in loans, what is the return on that investment? So there's that type of advice that's given as well. Now, obviously, we don't tell students what they have to go into, but we do provide them the information that says, look, these are high demand, these are not high demand. In the next 10 years, we do not see openings, or very many openings, in being a museum curator, or or something like that. But that doesn't mean that a student's not going to get their degree in history and try for that job, but we do try to provide the information so that they at least know. Yep. Yeah.
Hi, we work with quite a few high school students who, at our local access TV station. What's a film emphasis? Is that, I'm referring to your associate in arts degree, is that a major, the film emphasis? It just uses the word emphasis, so I'm not really sure what that means.
Yeah, so it's Associate of Arts is our general degree. So if they have an emphasis, it means they're interested in going into film or TV production or theater, but they're intending to transfer to get their 4-year degree. So that AA with emphasis, but we also have a AFA, which is a Associate of Fine Arts in theater and film. So those students, they work with our local access, Channel 12, and they will go over there and they'll have internships or service learning opportunities because they're interested in the television production, or they're interested in being one of the the people that talk, talent. Yes. So depending on their area of interest, then we'll try to match them up. And we have a great partnership with our local access to be able to feed students into that if they're interested. Yep.
Yeah, kind of a follow-up to the first question. Sure. Now, when you do those needs placement tests, let's say I'm going to a field that would require me to go up through like pre-calculus and math, and I take the assessment, and I'm already testing about calculus. Am I going to get credit for that, or do I still have to take the math courses and kind of spend the money on those to get credit?
So if you place, if you place high enough, now I'll first say that not many people coming to our college place that high. It's like 89% of our students actually place into developmental math. So that's below college level math. And that's common at most of the community colleges. It's different at universities, but that's just the reality. But if you're in that percentile, then we do have the ability to work with our instructors on test out. But there still is a payment for that. You don't just get credit. So yeah, but you don't necessarily have to sit through the course. You could potentially do a credit by exam, is what we call it. And then it's a smaller amount, but you pay still a fee to have it essentially transcripted onto your account. So that way you can transfer it wherever. Yep. So, was that it? Okay.
Well, thank you very much. Can we express our appreciation to Landon for joining us this morning? And I'm sure he can stick around for a few minutes and answer questions. And as he said, there's some materials and his contact info on the back table. So now the big drawing here. Who doesn't like coffee, by the way? Who was the recipient? Oh, okay. All right, so the winner of our bingo ice-breaking contest is Jenna Jones. And Jenna, I have a coffee mug for you, and I have more on my desk. So, ironically enough, yep. I have some tea in the office, so if you'd like some tea, I'll throw a tea bag in for you. But thank you all very much for joining us this morning. Have a great day, and we'll see you at Coffee and Connections next Wednesday or at our annual meeting in October. Thanks for coming.